Hi everyone, meteorologist Emery here in the Fox 19 First Alert Streaming Center. Apologies for the delay. We were running into some technical issues, but we have since resolved those issues. We are live, I believe, almost wherever you stream. There are a few bugs we're trying to figure out right now, but we're here. We're going to give you that forecast. Talk about the nice weekend ahead. We got a lot of things going on here in the tri-state, including the big Bengals game coming up on Sunday against the Patriots. Of course, we are the flagship station of the Cincinnati Bengals, and we're going to give you some good weather for that game coming up here in a little bit. But right now, we are looking at a pretty nice day today. Now, that being said, you are going to notice some high, thin clouds out there here in the tri-state, at least for the early afternoon. These clouds will move from the north to the south this afternoon as those high, thin clouds are beginning to erode. But you look off to the east and southeast, you still see this cloud cover here. A live look on our rooftop camera here in Queensgate, looking over towards downtown Cincinnati and Paycor Stadium. It's 76 here this hour, looking pretty warm here into the tri-state. But if you look off to the north, and this camera is going to go black for a moment, it's just kind of the nature of this particular camera. What we'll do is we'll switch it over to this camera here for a moment while it's loading. And again, we're looking at pretty nice conditions all in all. We'll switch back here. That way you can see this in better view. So notice how you see a little bit more blue skies the further north you go. That's the beginning of these clouds showing signs of eroding southward. So looking pretty good as we head into this afternoon and with regards to seeing more sunshine. So we'll go ahead and take a look at radar and satellite. And we just updated the 7-day forecast. So I'm filling in for meteorologist Catherine Bodak, and I'll be doing the 3 and 4 o'clock shows today. So if you missed this, if you're looking back later saying, oh, I just missed 19 at noon, I didn't think it was going to come on because we were on late. Well, got you covered at 3 o'clock, so don't worry. But we are looking at, again, those high, thin clouds here in the tri-state. We'll widen this out to show you that this high, thin cloud cover, part of this system here, not going to bring us anything. It's the only thing it's brought us is the high, thin clouds and just a little bit more humidity today compared to the last couple of days. It's manageable, and I'll show you that in the dew points here in a moment. But this high, thin cloud cover, we're kind of at the crest of it, the peak of it, because notice here this clearing, that's going to move in and give us some more sunshine this afternoon. And with the daytime heating, there could be some of those puffy fair weather cumulus clouds you see, but nothing really more than that. So temperatures right now at the different airports here in the Fox 19 Now viewing area, the ones that give us some updated temperatures at least, are in the mid-70s for most locations. The warm spot right now over towards Hamilton and in Wilmington at 77. They're seeing a little bit more sunshine compared to these areas here, who've been dealing with a lot more cloud cover, and a little bit cooler over towards Batesville and Harrison at 72, 76 at CVG and at the Lunken Airport, and 76 also up in Middletown there, and 73 down in Falmouth and in Batavia. The dew points, though, the measure the moisture in the air. When it breaks into the 60s, it's a little bit noticeable with the humidity, though it's manageable. Got a couple of spots that we're getting pretty close to 60. Batesville at 61, Falmouth at 59. Everyone else generally in the mid-50s. So it's still comfortable, but it's just noticeable of, you might break a sweat just a little bit easier compared to, say, yesterday or Monday, considering how dry it was both of those days. And the wind speeds right now are fairly light at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And there are really no wind gusts. I'm not suspecting that to be the case here this afternoon or this evening. And today we've got high temperatures in the mid-80s. So 85 our afternoon high here into the tri-state. You'll see that load here in a moment. So 85, we've got those mid-level clouds moving on, and those mid-level clouds are going to eventually clear out. We'll see some sunshine later today, and then tonight clear skies, and temperatures will dip pretty quick down into the lower 60s and upper 50s here in the tri-state. If you are traveling today, as it's middle of the work week, you got mid-80s from Chicago, Indianapolis, Columbus, down towards Lexington. You can see the high, thin clouds are making an impact on the temperatures here along the Ohio River and points southward. But areas are seeing more sunshine, obviously a little bit warmer, which, you know, this Sunday and Monday, even portions of yesterday, felt quite nice with the cooler conditions. But we're kind of in this pattern where we're kind of phasing in and out between the cool air mass and the warm air mass, and this is very typical entering fall and spring seasons here into the Ohio Valley. Of course, in the Ohio Valley, you kind of get all 4 seasons kind of wrapped up into 1 week sometimes, but not the case this week. The next couple of days, things will be staying dry. We got those high, thin clouds moving out. A few clouds tonight. Tomorrow, looking at mostly sunny conditions. Friday, though, mainly clear in the early morning hours, but Friday afternoon is our next opportunity to see some scattered shower and thunderstorm activity, especially during the afternoon and evening hours. I'm not suspecting severe activity. This is part of a cold front, and the energy with this cold front is stronger the well further north you go. So towards the Great Lakes region, could be seeing some stronger storms. But for us here in the Fox 19 Now viewing area, you might notice, I think at best, a breeze of 20, 25 mile per hour gusts. Could even be some 30 mile per hour wind gusts behind the front itself. But we are looking at nothing severe associated with this. Could see some downpours on Friday. And notice that not everyone is going to see the rain. Some places will be dry, others will be wet. But this is our best shot of seeing rain, not just for the 7-day forecast, but even beyond the 7-day forecast, because we're in a pretty dry weather pattern between the warm and cool conditions here into the tri-state. I want to remind you, too, if you have any comments or questions, you can join us on the Fox 19 Facebook page as well as my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. And again, this is our best shot of rain. Now, Friday night into Saturday, that front does begin to exit the region, and then we'll be looking at the drier, cooler air going into your Saturday. So, again, I mean, it's obvious. There's really no point in saying we need the rain, but we do. And this gets updated tomorrow. So this is the U.S. Drought Monitor. They update this once a week. I've said it before that they take observations of soil moisture, all the data, plot points all around the region, all around the country, really. And they take all that data on Tuesday. They analyze it, and they publish it Thursday morning. So this is still last Thursday's publish of the U.S. Drought Monitor. This will be updated tomorrow. Look out between 8 and 8:30 in the morning, and we'll have that update for you here on Fox 19. But notice, eastern Highland County, extreme drought conditions. Portions of Clinton, Highland, northern Adams counties under severe drought conditions. We got moderate drought conditions for much of northern Kentucky, as well as kind of extended further west for the counties I mentioned before, but also including Brown County, and many locations under abnormally dry conditions. And I'm not going to be surprised at all to see all of this expanded westward. Even with the rain we had late last week, it wasn't enough to compensate the amount of dry conditions we have. Now, there could be some clusters where the moderate drought here in northern Kentucky is improved, especially over towards Mason, Robertson counties, over towards Campbell County, areas that dealt with very heavy rainfall. But even then, that's a very localized thing. Most places did not see that rain. So the dry conditions, it's nice for folks who are wanting to get outside, do activities, but not so great when it comes to agriculture, gardening, stuff like that. And I will say that we're not looking at that area where we're not seeing those dew points in the 70s. At best, we're seeing dew points approaching the mid-60s Friday afternoon as that front gets closer to the tri-state. And so we might get on the cusp of muggy, but generally speaking, we're either going to be humid or comfortable for the next several days here into the tri-state. So though it's going to be warmer, it is going to be dry, which, though it's not good for the crops, it is good for folks who are wanting to plant things on the outdoors. And so we'll take a look at the forecast model here. This is a regional view. And you'll see that we are looking at chances of rain Friday afternoon through Friday night. So here it is. Friday evening, you can see these scattered showers and storms associated with this front. I'm filling in for Chief Meteorologist Steve Horsemeyer Friday evening and Friday night. He'll be here for 5 and 6, don't worry, but I'll be here at 7:15 anywhere you stream, and then also at 10 o'clock on Fox 19. But so we'll be tracking some of those scattered showers and storms together. But we go into late Friday night, the front passes through. So here's Saturday morning. I can't rule out maybe a sprinkle, a stray shower still lingering to our southeastern counties. Wouldn't be surprised, too, if there's a little bit of mist. associated with this, because there's going to be a big temperature difference, which when there's a big temperature difference, usually it means a couple of things. It could mean a drastic change with regards to the storm energy, so there could be some strong storms. It could mean strong winds, or it could mean very strong pressure change. It's going to be a strong pressure change and a strong wind change. So we're looking at breezy conditions now. I've introduced that in the 7-day forecast for your Saturday. So outdoor plans Saturday looks good, but not good when it comes to swaying trees. And a lot of places that are really dry, they're beginning to see those leaves change color, leaves falling. A lot of stress on those trees due to the lack of rain, which prevents the sugars from, keeping those leaves green, keeping the tree from naturally going into the foliage, whatever you call it, the transition period, I guess, to get into that natural progression. So with it being dry, they're getting cut off way earlier than normal. And so we are going to see more leaves fall, especially on Saturday with those gusty winds. We head into Sunday, we're quiet. We're dry next week. In fact, I don't see rain chances after Friday and Friday night, not until next Saturday night. And this model doesn't even go out that far. But from what I'm seeing is there could be some data. This kind of stopped at Friday. But Saturday, I see some activity moving in from the west, moving in and extending into next Sunday. And even then, it's not a great opportunity. It's just a chance. And until then, it's looking pretty warm going to the middle of the month of September. So we've talked enough. I want to show you that 7-day forecast. Again, I just updated this. And there's a lot of events. Of course, we got the UC game on Saturday. And we also got the Bengals game on Sunday. I'm missing something else. There's a lot of things going on. But you can see here on that 7-day forecast some of the changes I made. Kind of drastic changes with regards to the highs and the lows. So 85 today, we've kept that. We got the high thin clouds. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, up to 88 now. So for those of you who thought the 90s were done and over with, it's not quite the 90s. A couple home thermometers might get to 90, but it's going to feel pretty darn close to 90 degrees for Thursday. Friday, 86, afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Not looking at anything severe with that. It's just going to be some breezy winds associated with that front. And those winds are pretty much right along and behind the front. So when I say some breezy gusts with the storms, it's not the initial storms. It's going to be the storms as they're beginning to come to an end, because this front is carrying with it a lot of differences in pressure and temperature, and that's going to create a lot of winds behind that. So Saturday, we're going to have what we call a lot of mixing, so that's going to keep those temperatures down even lower than what we had earlier in the forecast. So 71 degrees, keeping it cool, looking sunny though. If anything, there could be a few lingering light showers in the morning for far southeastern locations of the Fox 19 now viewing area. And notice too, I've dropped the temperatures down even more Saturday night and Sunday night into the mid-40s. Couple of rural spots might make it into the low 40s, so keep that in mind. And it's not going to be great to have the windows open, because when it gets that cool and then you have a drastic change in the mid-upper 80s, might make you feel a little under the weather. So the windows down, a good idea on some of these nights, but not all of these nights, considering the fact that it's going to be chilly. But chilly for good conditions for football weather. Monday, 77 degrees. It's looking mild, looking sunny. Tuesday, I've bumped back up to 84, because we're going to have really light winds, a lot of sunshine. When you have light winds and you have clear conditions, you have a pattern, what you call a diurnal pattern. And what that means is you typically have the cool nights, mild nights, and then a pretty warm afternoon. So temperatures can have a disparity of 30 degrees between the morning temperature and the afternoon temperature. And that looks to be the case for pretty much Monday, Tuesday, through the middle of next week. And as I showed you on that model, we're not seeing rain chances until not this upcoming weekend, but next weekend, which Chief Meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer will show you that 14-day forecast at 6:45 this evening and on the 7:15 weekday evening weather show. So what we're going to do now is take a pause. We'll go ahead and pull up a cool camera behind me. And then what we'll do is look at the temperature and rainfall outlook for the next couple of weeks and even the next few weeks here in just a moment. So let me pull up a good camera if I have that option. They're all good cameras. Hopefully you're having a good start to, I should say, it's my start to the week. Hopefully you're having a good middle of your work week, and hopefully it's not been too taxing on you. It's a short week, of course, Labor Day being Monday, a weekend. So let's go ahead and jump on the Facebook page. Hey, we got a couple of comments. Molly saying, hello, Ethan. Starting to feel like fall, my favorite. So dry, we need rain before our pond disappears. Yeah, I was at my dad's over the weekend, and the pond is dropped even lower. In fact, I would say my dad's pond is about 2 feet lower. In fact, the way my dad's pond is set up is there's kind of a swampy area where there's a lot of hill runoff too. There's a natural spring there, but that natural spring is well underground, and so it really doesn't show up in the pond. It's a lot deeper. It's a lot of clay in that portion of the county, but that swampy area that has wetness to it, it's not. It's completely dry. Not good for the frogs or the fish that kind of go back in there. Not good for the herons and ducks who want to go out there and sit along the swampy areas. But the pond itself still has some water to it, but the banks are just completely dry, and my dad just had to weed eat all that grass because it was drying out and getting really crispy, and just better to clear that off. So hopefully any runoff just gets right into the pond without any issue. Susan, wish we weren't having any more 80s, but typical September. Yeah, that's the kind of the pattern we're dealing with. So I would say the next couple of weeks we have this, it's maybe not the best way of terming it, but it's the most simplistic way of referencing it, is battle of air masses. That's, very usual, very typical for changing seasons. So between fall and spring, between the end of summer through the beginning of fall, late winter, early spring, you have these transitions. So here's a temperature trend map, and this is what I'm going to show to best illustrate what I'm talking about. So you have this big area of warmer weather, temperatures above normal here across the Ohio Valley Central Plains. We go into Thursday, you can see still really warm all through here, but notice all that dark green up there into southern Canada, right along the Great Lakes region. And then we head into Friday, and look at this. This right here is beginning to expand itself. So this right here is battling this warm air mass, and it's going to create that cold front. It's going to bring us some gusty winds Friday night and Saturday. Ahead of it, some scattered showers and thunderstorms Friday afternoon. We go into Saturday, and look at that. This cool area has broken itself down into the Ohio Valley. Now, granted, it's not massive, and it's not really, really cool to be persistent. If it were bigger and if it were even cooler, it would obviously take longer to recover for next week. However, it's not that big, and notice that Saturday, mid-70s St. Louis and Omaha, 86 still in Rapid City, 84 in Oklahoma City. So there's a sharp gradient here of temperature. So this warmer weather, when it tries to make its way back eastward, it's going to do that very easily. I'm not trying to personify weather, but it's just a way to look at it from an easier perspective. You're trying to use a little bit of science, but also making it easy to comprehend. So we head into Sunday, and look at this. That cooler air mass, it's getting smaller. It's moving to the north and east. Here's that warmer weather. I mentioned Omaha, mid-70s on Saturday, in the 80s by Sunday. St. Louis still mild, just as much as we are. But we head into Monday, and you can see it fizzles out. It's moving off towards the New England area and over towards eastern Canada. And then that warmer air mass just takes over once again. This big ridge of really warm air through the majority of next week, with the exception of Monday. Jane says, hello, Ethan. Hello to you. Rachel says, sorry, just got here. What's Friday looking like? What's the risk? There are no risks. Friday, if anything, a storm might have a gust of wind, a breezy wind. I don't think the winds will be any stronger than 30 miles an hour. Because though there's a big temperature difference, a lot of these winds are going to be along and behind the front, not so much with the front. And we are looking at warming conditions. So we do have warmer air, a little bit more humidity, not a lot of humidity, but it's going to be enough for these storms to dump a good downpour. So if anything, Rachel, I think the biggest thing is going to be downpours, where we could have some slick roadways, maybe a couple of areas doing some ponding, but not looking at this to be a drought reliever by any stretch. And I'm not looking at severe weather for Friday, at least not right now. There's no big indicators, in my opinion, that looks like severe activity on Friday. Though, again, like I said, maybe as the rain's moving in, it could knock off some leaves, maybe a dying limb on a tree, but nothing more than that. So I just showed the 7-day forecast. I want to show the temperature outlook here. I'm running out of time because I like to talk, if you didn't know that. And we'll show the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, and then we'll show the 3 to 4 week outlook. And these are, developed by the Climate Prediction Center. And I do agree with these, though I think we would be a bit more orange here. There's a lot higher confidence in temperatures being above normal for the next 2 weeks. There's only going to be a couple of days that are just below normal, but it's not going to be enough to compensate with just how warm it's going to be over the next 2 weeks, through the middle of September, through the 18th with this map. When it comes to rainfall, we need it. We're not going to get enough. Unfortunately, the dry conditions will be persistent. A couple of opportunities of rain, and that's it. Friday, and then not until the next Saturday. And even then, it's not a great shot. It's just a small chance. And that's for the next 3 to 4 weeks. And with that, there's some unknowns. But after that next Saturday, there are questions about whether or not we do dip into that cooler, because at that point, we're going to be at that point where temperatures might cool down a little bit, but there's a lot of question marks. So with just how things are been very fluid, it's really difficult to say at that point. But yeah, nothing too impactful for you. If anything, the showers and thunderstorms Friday afternoon, Friday evening could bring in some impacts to Friday high school football, particularly with lightning and then some downpours for folks traveling. Saturday, breezy for some football games and chilly. The Bengals game, tailgating will be chilly. You'll want to have layers on Sunday morning because temperatures will be in the mid to upper 40s and perhaps low 50s by the start of some of those tailgates. So keep that in mind. So with that being said, we got to cut things off because we are going to be very close to encroaching on Now in the Natty. Jane says, have a great day. You as well. We're also live on my Facebook page at Ethan Emery WX. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but I will look at some of those comments and try to answer those at the conclusion of this live stream. But got to cut it off, so thank you all so much for joining us here on this Wednesday edition of 19 at Noon. I will be back here tomorrow at 19 at noon, and then Friday I'll be doing the 19 at 7:15. So thank you all so much for joining us here on this Wednesday edition of 19 at Noon.